You've never seen Neopets like this. Behind the rainbows, there was a monster made of greed and strategy. Let's uncover the hidden economy of your childhood playground. Welcome to the Museum of Forgotten Memories. Don't let these cute faces fool you. Behind the big eyes lies a world of ruthless digital capitalism and secrets. This isn't just a pet game. This is the story of how millions of children became tiny stockbrokers before they even learned their basic multiplication tables. In the golden age of the internet, a seemingly innocent world called Neopia was born, offering every kid a chance to own their very own magical beast. Everything started so purely. You picked your favorite companion, gave them a name, and promised to take care of them forever in this vibrant digital paradise. But the rainbows didn't last. Beneath the surface, a monster was growing. A monster made of numbers, greed, and the brutal reality of a global marketplace. Soon, the pressure to provide for your pet became real. If you wanted them to be happy, you needed more than just love. You needed hard currency. The game transformed. It was no longer about playing tag. It was about the hustle. Welcome to the Wolf of Wall Street, but for the playground. Get ready as we dive deep into the secret history of Neopets, where the lessons of the market were learned through pixelated fur and digital tears. Neopia was vast and diverse, offering something for every type of player. Whether you loved knights, sci-fi, or spooky ghosts, there was a home for you. It felt like a grand adventure, where your choice of land defined your identity. You weren't just a player, you were a citizen of a living world. You could spend your days questing for glory in Meridel, or exploring the mysteries of the deep sea. The possibilities for play seemed absolutely endless back then. If you were brave enough, the haunted woods offered thrills and chills. Every corner of this world was designed to keep you clicking and exploring forever. But hidden behind the cute animations was a sophisticated economic engine. To get anywhere, you had to master the flow of the elusive Neopoint currency. Neopoints were the lifeblood of your existence. Without them, your pet stayed basic, and your status in the community remained at the very bottom of the ladder. You spent hours grinding minigames. Mirka Chase became a test of reflexes and patience, all for a handful of coins that barely paid for dinner. One wrong move and it was all over. The payout was small, and the realization hit hard. Manual labor in the games wasn't the path to riches. You played game after game, clicking until your fingers were sore. But the prices of the cool items in the shops were rising much faster than you. That's when you realized the truth. To get the best items, you had to stop playing the games and start playing the players in the market. The drive for status was intoxicating. You wanted the rarest colors and the strongest equipment to show everyone that you were a true Neopian elite. Enter the Neopian stock market, a place where fortunes were made and lost on the whims of a digital algorithm that dictated the value of companies. Nigel the Chia was the face of this madness. He was the ultimate hustler, teaching kids that risk was the only way to reach the top. While other kids were learning about history, we were learning about diversified portfolios and the importance of buying low and selling high in a volatile market. Some stocks would jump 1,000% overnight. It was a rush of dopamine that hooked us on the thrill of the trade early in life. But for every winner, there were losers. Entire savings could vanish in a heartbeat, leaving you with nothing but a lesson in the cruelty of capitalism. Then there were the paintbrushes. These were the true gold bars of Neopia. Owning one meant you had finally made it into the upper class. We learned how to corner the market. By hoarding these rare items, we could manipulate the prices and force others to pay a premium for style. The auction house was a battlefield. Bidding wars would break out over a single rare stamp, with prices reaching millions of neopoints in seconds. Certain items became legendary. A Drake egg was worth more than a house to us. We treated these digital pixels like they were fine works of art. We were just 10 years old, yet we were analyzing supply chains and demand curves with the intensity of a Wall Street veteran on a Friday. Neopets wasn't just a hobby anymore. It was a training ground for the real world, where we learned that everything has a price if you're patient. But where there is big money, there is always a dark side. Welcome to the underbelly of Neopia, where the rules were meant to be broken. Hackers and scammers began to prowl the forums. They looked for any weakness in the system to gain an unfair advantage over the honest players. Item duping became a plague. People found ways to glitch the system, creating infinite copies of the rarest items and crashing the entire economy's value. The black market was real. Digital pets were being sold for thousands of actual dollars on third-party websites, turning a game into a serious business. The ultimate fear for any player was the ban hammer. Seeing that your account was frozen felt like losing years of your life in an instant. One mistake, one suspicious trade, and everything you worked for was gone. The moderators were like a secret police, watching every single move you made. Unconverted pets became the ultimate status symbol. Because they couldn't be made anymore, they were treated like ancient relics with insane values on the market. It sounds crazy now, but people would literally trade their real-life gadgets for a rare digital pet. The line between reality and pixels had completely blurred. The forums were a wild west of drama and deals. We spent our nights arguing about trade values and searching for the next big market exploit. Phishing scams were everywhere. We had to learn the hard way how to protect our passwords and recognize the traps set by digital predators and thieves. Our innocence was slowly replaced by a cold, calculating mindset. We weren't just kids playing a game. We were survivors in a digital war zone. Then, the corporate giants arrived. When Viacom bought Neopets, the soul of the world began to shift toward profit margins and aggressive brand marketing. Advertisements were everywhere. You couldn't feed your pet without being told to buy a real-world product, breaking the immersion we had loved for so long. The site's aesthetic became more polished, but less personal. The quirky, indie charm that started the revolution was being polished away by a corporate machine. But the biggest blow was yet to come. The technology that built Neopets was dying, and the end was closer than any of us realized. Adobe Flash, the engine of our childhood, was being phased out. Without it, the games we spent years playing would simply cease to exist forever. It was like watching a world crumble in slow motion. One by one, the interactive parts of Neopia stopped working, leaving behind a ghost town. The death of Flash was the Thanos snap of the internet. It wiped out decades of history and left a hole in our collective digital hearts. The games that taught us about life and money were suddenly gone. We were left standing in the ruins of our favorite childhood playground, feeling lost. The bustling economy fell silent. The stock market stopped moving, and the once vibrant forums became echoes of the past where few people still remained. We watched as our digital empire faded into the sunset. It was the end of an era that shaped an entire generation of internet users. The world moved on to newer, simpler things. But for those of us who were there, the memories of Neopia remained as vivid as ever. So we returned to our museum. The case is closed, but the evidence remains. Neopets was more than just a website, it was a phenomenon. Looking back, we can see the beauty in the chaos. It was a place where we could be anything, even if it meant being a tycoon. The lessons we learned about value, risk, and community are still with us today. It was the most important school we never officially attended in childhood. Even now, a new generation is finding their own ways to create and trade, building their own empires in the digital worlds of the future. Neopets proved that our imagination has real value. It showed us that digital items can represent real friendships and a sense of true belonging. The community's creativity kept the world alive long after the corporations gave up. The art, the stories, and the passion were the true currency of Neopia. Thank you for taking this trip down memory lane with me. Neopets might be gone in its old form, but its spirit lives on in us. Don't forget to subscribe for more